Hello everyone and welcome to Aidy's Game Log episode 5. In this episode I want to talk about why I'm not bothering watching E3 live this year and why I don't tend to watch any more of these live event shows as they happen. First up, it's important to say that it's not because I'm actually jaded with gaming itself. I still love playing games and I don't think that'll change anytime soon, even if new games do continue to go down the path that they are and eventually get to the point where I'm not interested in them anymore. I will still enjoy playing all the old games I've got, so I don't think that's going to be the issue. No, the main reason is the bullshit that goes with watching these events. I used to be able to tolerate this in the past, writing most of it off as being nothing more than pure hype. And although that still is the case, it's becoming increasingly nauseating and pointless to actually watch these shows. First up, the footage they show to actually entice you into ordering their products, there's no such thing as pre-ordering by the way people, has been proven to be questionable at best. Look, if you can't trust what you're seeing on the screen in the auditorium as being accurate as to how the game will look in its final version, then what's the point? It's worthless as those pictures of burgers you see behind the counters in fast food joints. Those things never look like the run over by a truck product you end up getting. And I don't see anything being different this year. You'll get a heavily scripted demo of the game played by some of the most embarrassing representations of gamers you'll see this side of a South Park episode, married to footage that will look far better than it will in the final version. You get game developers and PR people, their presentations awash with pointless and ludicrous marketing speak, like drivatars, Levolution, and other such retarded statements that the audience is supposed to think is cool. Instead, it should be mocked. It cheapens the industry and it makes it look infantile that such gimmicks and trite nonsense need to be spouted out by these moronic drones in their hipster outfits on stage. By the time you get to the end of each presentation, going for a long walk off a short cliff almost seems like an attractive proposition. The problem is that games are actually being made to fit this nonsense. Games are designed to be a tool for marketing and not the other way round. Marketing should serve to sell a game. A game should not be designed around shitty marketing campaigns and sound bites, and this is what you're seeing happening more and more now. Games are being designed as tools for the marketing, when they should be being pieces of art. With games increasingly being designed by committee, with throwaway political platitudes being strewn into their programs or whatever just to be edgy and create a shitstorm, it's a wonder that anyone can seriously consider the AAA games industry as art anymore. Then we get to hardware announcements. Now, as we know, Microsoft will be trying in vain to explain to the world what the new Scorpio console actually is. Now, given that Phil Spencer has yet to give a straight and consistent answer in any interview I've seen of his, I fully expect that to be a dumpster fire of epic proportions. But who knows, maybe Microsoft will break the habit of a lifetime and actually have a clear strategy for the Scorpio. However, I expect we will get half-baked truths and ambiguous statements designed to do nothing more than cloud people's idea of whether it's actually a new generation console designed to replace the Xbox One, or is it just going to be a more powerful version of the Xbox One in the same way that the PS4 Pro is a more powerful version than the PS4? I expect duplicitous statements regarding how it will affect Xbox One games and what the future of the Xbox One actually is. The point is, sitting and watching the presentation will likely create more questions than it answers, and so the truth will only start to come out in the days and weeks after their press conference, and therein lies the real issue for me. My experience of watching E3 is that you sit there for hours watching all of these announcements only to discover the real truths and facts in the days and weeks after the various press conferences. It hardly makes it worthwhile, does it? Why sit for hours wading through a mountain high pile of marketing bullshit when waiting a couple of days will yield the information that you actually really want? Of course, The added bonus is not having to listen to the utter embarrassment that is planted company employees in the audience hooping and hollering at key points during each press conference. Marry that to the pregnant pauses of the hosts as they wait for the clearly rehearsed responses to become audible. It just becomes so cringeworthy. It makes me wonder how an event like that has so much money lavished on it, and yet it still comes across as something you would expect to see from an SNL comedy skit. To me, E3 is nothing more than an incredibly expensive, illusionary show that David Copperfield would be proud of. Its value is based only on its use as a piece of entertainment, as opposed to being anything that has value in terms of being accurate or informative. If it was just about the hype, then I actually could live with that. It has become more, though. It's become a self-indulgent event of misinformation and half-truths. So bearing that in mind, why would I waste hours of my life watching all these press conferences live when I can cherry-pick validated information over the course of the following days? The simple answer is, I won't. And it's a sad thing because I did used to in the past watch E3, but it's like everything else. There's only so many times you're going to try to pick up the red hot poker at the wrong end and get your fingers burnt. The number of times I've sat and I've watched these presentations and press conferences, and in the end you do come away and thinking, so wait, what was that? I mean, Microsoft's conference last year, I can't believe that people actually thought it was a good one. They kicked off the conference by announcing a new Xbox One and finished it by announcing another console. I mean, how ridiculously stupid can you get? How confusing was that? And I almost think, are they doing it on purpose just so they can engage people afterwards, so people can come up and ask them questions? I mean, are there shows really that bereft of interesting information that they actually have to get this type of fake interaction going by just feeding conflicting and bullshitty type statements out there that, in front of the entire world just to get people to talk to them after? I mean, hey, maybe they'll have a ream of exclusive games that we all can't live without, and maybe that'll make the Scorpio more attractive. But I mean, it's not just Microsoft. I mean, Sony have done the same down the years. The presentation of the PlayStation 3 was, well, it was disastrous of epic proportions. I mean, it was that bad. It was infamous. You just get to the point where you think, I'm not that arsed. I'm not that arsed anymore about watching. So you sit for hours and you watch people prattle on about bullshit marketing. And in the end, the game comes out and it's just like every other bleeding game that's come out, all of these newfangled things that they've got in the game that barely go by. I mean, Jesus Christ, does anybody actually remember the Call of Duty Ghost presentation with the fish AI? Did anybody ever notice that in the game? Oh, the fish swim away from you. Why is that artificial intelligence? I mean, just it made no difference to the fucking game at all. And whoa, let's make a big deal about it. And then they had a dog in it. Look at this dog. Yeah, because there's never been a dog in a bleeding video game before, has there? Well done. It's just gimmicks. It's shit. I mean, that's all it is. And it's not anything other than the fact that you're sitting there and watching this crap. And you think, why am I sat watching this bullshit when I could just wait 24 hours and just watch a highlight reel, a sizzle reel, as it were, of this stuff and get just as much information, not have to deal with the horse shit, and, free up my time to do more important things like watching paint dry. E3, it's become this bullshit event. And I've in the past tried to defend it, say, oh well, don't be swept along with the hype and stuff. But it's It becomes different when you have to sit there and wade through it. I mean, why? Is this is this what the games industry has become now? Is this what the games industry is all about? Is this how we want to represent? You get Ubisoft go up on stage and let's start swearing, because that's really cool, right? You've got the eyes of the world are watching you, and you are representing the games industry, and you're swearing just to be edgy, and it's not for any other reason than that. They want to be edgy. Hey, look, we're Ubisoft, we're edgelords. You're not. Okay, grow up. It's juvenile. You're appealing to a juvenile demographic by doing that, because an intelligent adult does not care. Okay? An intelligent adult, it doesn't care about whether you're up on stage talking about video games and trying to be edgy about it. It's just embarrassing. Especially when the shit that you're showing up on stage isn't going to be what people get when they install it in the consoles. No matter how powerful the consoles are, you still lie about what you show people. And that is horseshit. And you can be as edgy as you want about it. You can be as bombastic as you want. You can put, a philharmonic orchestra to introduce you on stage. You can have the biggest bloody screens and loudest speakers and thousands of people planted in your audience to hoop and holler at the exact correct moment. You can have all of that, but your product is still shit. And that's not going to change, because when that product goes to review, when it goes to release, all of the razzmatazz, all of that shit is gone. Nobody cares about it. Nobody's going to sit there and think, I'm going to buy that game because they introduced that title with a philharmonic orchestra on stage with some really cool lighting effects. No, nobody does that. The vast majority of people actually who buy the game don't even watch E3. That's the thing. And this whole thing is a waste of fucking money. And then you get the industry complaining about the cost of development's gone up. No. The cost of stroking your bloody ego at events like this is what's gone up. They waste so much money on creating demos that are exclusive for those type of shows. And they're never seen again. That footage is never seen. It's never realised. Because it's bullshit. Or bullshot, as people call it. And they're quite right, it is. And over and over and over again, that's what you get. To the point where it's like, yeah, you know what, I'm done. I'm done. I'm going, I'll watch a sizzle reel. And that's it. I don't need some developer that has been coached tirelessly by an overpaid and unneeded marketing department to tell me about their game. I don't need that, because I can find that out from somebody who's going to play the bloody thing. You can talk about all of the back end stuff that you're doing in a game, but that is not useful to the end user. It's not useful to the gamer, because unless they actually get to grips with the game and can see those things, then all it is just bullshit in the background nobody cares about. The only people that care about it is you, the person who's telling all of this out on stage. Your audience doesn't give a shit. Believe me, they don't. Nobody cared about Drivatars. It was a stupid idea. Nobody cared about Levolution. It's a stupid word. Like Drivatars, it's a stupid word. When they came out with Drivatars, all I saw on my Twitter timeline was Drivatarded. I mean, they just mocked it. Those are the people that you want to buy the game are mocking you. They're laughing at you. The rest of the people aren't even watching. They're not even watching. They don't even look at. They don't drive at all. What the fuck's that? They don't even care. And all of the time, you can imagine that they had meeting after meeting after meeting, coming up with these stupid little marketing things. How can we market this game? Well, how about you just make a good game and see what happens? That's how it used to be. Sometimes good games fall by the wayside. That's unfortunate, but that happens in all forms of entertainment. There's been great movies that have done shit at the box office, but they find a life later on. But instead, we're just treated to this. And like I say, what's the point? What's the point? I mean, Christ, if you want to see this stuff live, it can be far more entertaining just watching a Twitter feed, to be honest with you. Because the critique of some of these things is quite hilarious. And I used to think, oh, people are being so negative. And then you know, they're being negative, they're just taking the piss. But then you sit down and you look at it yourself and you think, well, this industry is taking the piss out of itself. It's setting itself up. All people are doing are delivering the punchline, but it's loading the guns for people. Every time you get one of these people up on stage, it's like, oh, just hand me that gun while I'll give you the ammunition and point it at me. All you've got to do in the audience or on Twitter or in wherever on social media is pull the trigger. And I think that's sad. But anyway, I don't want to keep going on. I think I've gone on long enough. It's about 15, 16 minutes long. That was just all I wanted to say. Because as the hype machine is starting to build up now, you know, people are saying, oh, this is what's going to happen at E3. And I'm like, give a fucking shit. Seriously. I'll spend like an hour perusing articles and videos, you know, in the days and weeks after, when people have had time to digest the information. And then from that, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Let's see what happens. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening to this vague ramble of mine. But I just wanted to get it out there. Oh, and by the way, if people are wondering where my previous vlog went, this is episode 5, as I've already said, and this is a replacement to the previous episode 5, which was about my experiences with a video game retail store not wanting to serve me because I was trading in some games, even though they had plenty of time. And a little addendum to that, for those that actually saw that video, when I got it sorted out the next day, had they done what they did, they would have actually been able to process the transaction and still been able to close on time. So, you know, a maximum they would have been looking at was 5 minutes over. So really just kind of underlined it. But, you know, yeah, what happened to that video was I got, when I recorded the video, I had the television on, because it was very impromptu. And I cranked the volume. I should have just muted it, but I just cranked the volume down on the TV. Now, to me, it was barely audible, but I guess that somehow the YouTube's Autobot copyright thing, Autobot? That's a transformer. Whatever it is, the copyright thing they have must have picked up on the audio faintly in the background, and I got a copyright strike. Now, it wasn't a takedown notice or anything like that, and I don't make money, so whatever. But I just don't. I'm sometimes I'll leave videos up with them on, but I've had a few, and I've got a few that I've had left up with copyright strikes on, and I just don't want to get to the point where it affects the standing of my account. And for what it really was, what the video was, which was just basically me having a moan, it didn't really warrant it staying up there. I mean, I could redo it, I suppose. I could mess around with the audio, put another audio track on underneath to mask that. Use some free music or whatever, license free music. But it's more hassle than it's worth. For what it was, it's just more hassle than it's worth. And yeah, I'm just moving on and carrying forward. I've said my dealings with the place are pretty much at an end now. I did pre-order a game from there, and I'll honour that. And that'll be it. I've not been in the place since. I'll collect my pre-order, which is the Wipeout game, which is next week, and then that'll be it. No harm, no foul. Move on, and you just get on with it. I can't save these places, and if they don't want to be saved, then so be it. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I've done my bit. My conscience is clear. I didn't jump onto digital-only games and buying stuff exclusively off Amazon. So, anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So I won't be watching E3 live. Not that anybody probably gives a shit, but there you go. So I'll catch you all later, either via another live stream, which I'll probably do at some point this week, another vlog in the near future. So thank you all for watching.